Gaffer, great to see you. Not quite in the flesh, but as best as we can manage it in this current climate. Loads of questions from the fans, which is fantastic. We'll run through as many as we can, and we'll get those up later. First one, just the only one really on the sort of topic at the moment, because I know it's tricky to talk about, but Michael Horn is asking, how much notice would you need to get the players fit and ready for resumption of the Premier League season? I know the problem is at the minute it's open-ended, but just a little insight perhaps of what's happening at the minute and what it might take.
Yeah, if a view would be that every week that you're out, you probably need 5 days out of that week to go back in. So if you imagine a normal close down period or a training break, as it's known now really in the summer, might be, say, 7 weeks, you're certainly looking at that 7 weeks. We'd normally do roughly about 5 weeks of a pre-season. Now, we don't know how long this is going to go for. It is slightly different. The players are at full match fitness before this break. They have got a training schedule that will keep them a base fitness, if you like, so we can probably ramp up a bit quicker if needed. So when the date comes through, we'll speak to the sports science team. We'll get some feedback from the players as well, how they're feeling. But pretty much we think we can get them back to speed pretty quickly. And without knowing the date or the possible date, it's hard to give you an exact amount of time how long that would take. But it'd certainly be, at this stage, we're kind of pushing, week 3-ish. So, if it went on, I don't know, if it goes another week, 2 weeks before we can start training again, we're looking at 3.5 weeks to ramp that back up to get them at full tilt. But we'll work within whatever dates we're given. Because as we all want, we do want it to continue, or we certainly want it to continue. So we will work accordingly to the dates. Yeah,
it is a bit open-ended, as you say. Just want a few people have been asking how are the injured lads, and again, it depends when they come back. But sort of Johan and Ashley Barnes and Jay, sort of at various periods of injury, how are they, and how are you managing to sort of to keep in touch and keep them going?
Yeah, so firstly, I think it's important to point out we too have been on lockdown. I think most people will know that, including the players, that is. There is some dispensation for individuals where our physios could go to your house and obviously have a one-on-one because that's not, spreading, if you like. We've even limited that at this stage because the players are in a place where their injuries don't. Whether it's helpful if you can get hands-on care, but it's not vital at this stage. So we've kind of given them a period where they've had no contact. They've got plans to do, of course. And ideas on strength and conditioning for their injuries. But there's no actual physical contact. But that will be coming as we get more dates. But yeah, we just thought it was the right thing to do, to be honest, where if everyone's in lockdown, so should we be. And so we put that to all of the players for this initial period until we find out more.
Good stuff. Away from the current climate, just to open it up, a nice question from Joanne Elizabeth PW. Are you still the proudest man in Proudsville? And that was just a nice little story, the way it came out. It was a throwaway remark, but it was a lovely time, wasn't it?
Yeah, I mean, it's, it was a throwaway remark. It was a funny remark where one of the reporters wouldn't let it go. They just kept, yeah, but you must be proud. Yeah, but surely.
Beaten Stoke at that night and gone fourth, I think I'm right in saying.
That's it, yeah. And I was like, yeah, of course, So I think, it's a nice little tag that's kind of stuck around with us at Burnley. And yeah, I mean, look, through the testing time, you can still be proud. I said of it last season when we had a real tough first half of the season, someone quizzed me in the press about it. And I said, yeah, of course. I said, just because you're having a tough time, it doesn't mean you're not proud of what's been achieved and proud of the players. And I'll remain that forever at Burnley. And not just the players. I mean, the town, the people, the way they've adapted, the way they've glued themselves together, probably even more so over the successes that we've had over the years. And stuck by the team. So I'm proud of that. I don't think that's easy anymore for fans. The demand of social media and media is for change all the time. And the vast majority actually, since we kind of got promoted the first time, obviously I had a sticky spell when I first started and so did the staff and the players. But since then, the fans have really stuck by what the team offers, what we try and give. Through the ups and downs of the period that I've been at the club. So I'm proud of that. I don't think that's easy anymore for fans to stick in there because the demands from outside of that is, they get battered with, you've got to change, must change. Why are they not changing? They should do this, they should do that. And that can creep into a fan psyche, and it can spread like wildfire, but the fans have resisted that. And I'm really proud of that because I don't think that's an easy thing anymore in football.
A similar type topic, more perhaps about yourself, from Danny at C9 Wood. What's been your favourite moment during your successful tenure managing Burnley? I know there's been lots of highs for various reasons. Can you narrow it down to 1, 2?
Yeah, I think my favourite is still the Wigan game, because I think the first promotion, it came out of nowhere, really. And we earned it, don't get me wrong, in the end. It's a fantastic achievement from a very, very talented group of players, that's for sure. But even me, we went into that season feeling we were going to be stronger than the season before. We got off to an absolute flyer, but I couldn't tell you that I thought we were going to get automatically promoted that year. It's not because I don't believe that we could do it. It's just because we were working with an incredibly low number of players. I mean, for the first half of the season, we had 2 centre forwards with Vokesy and Ingsy. That was it. You know, and you look back at them sort of challenges and you think, well, everyone remained fit. We remained up for the challenge. We got to Christmas and then beyond, and then everyone started going, hang on a minute, you know, you've really got a chance. And then, strangely, as you'll remember through the media, they start doing that doubting thing then. Oh, can they? Oh, no team has ever lost from this position and all stuff like that. So that was a new thing to sort of deal with for everyone. So when we got to the Wigan game and you're thinking, come on, lads, just turn up. And people soon forget Wigan were on an unbelievable roll. They changed their manager to Uwe Rosler at that time. I think they'd won, I can't remember, 6 out of 7 or whatever it was, 5 out of 7. And we were superb. And I just remember thinking, you know, all of that work to deliver such a performance against a team going so well at that moment in time, because that could have affected, as you know, there's teams that have gone the wrong way with them kind of pressures where it goes the wrong way, and it didn't. And the mental resilience of the side, but then to deliver that performance was just unbelievable. I think that's my take-home thing from Burnley probably forever.
A similar question. I think it's probably the same thing. A favourite goal, and Barnes' goal in that sort of epitomised it. I think I'm right in saying that.
Yeah, I think it did, because whenever I talk about mixed football, and some question it, but that really was the key to it. I think it was something like 7 or 8 passes from our keeper to scoring a goal, and their side didn't even touch it. And I think, you know, there was a rollout to Duff, a clever little clip into the sort of front line. Clever down to Marnes. Marnes plays it wide. He continues his run, gets him behind, crosses it. Barnsley smashes it in. And I think that was kind of a magic moment to fulfil the task of beating Wigan on the day. And Kite's whipping one in the corner as well, of course, who'd really come. Kite's that last 5 or 6 games where we really needed people to pop up was excellent. So I think that one will still be outstanding. Many, many more. The second 23 undefeated, going down to Charlton, the amazing scenes at Charlton. Some private memories as well, you know, things that were unbelievable around the group and when we've been together as a group, you know, but I think Wigan is the overlying one. I just think it was tremendous for me, it was tremendous for the team, tremendous for the town, tremendous for the club, and I think we've built ever since then.
Talking of goals, Sharon Jackson asks, firstly, thanks for everything you've done for the club, but why do you never celebrate when we score a goal? Do you never feel like running up and down the touchline? And first match back on the turf, please, could you do it?
Well, it's not really my bag, for one. I've always thought it when other managers do it and then lose, I always think, oh, that looks peculiar now. Mm-hmm. I've been in football all my life, so I know how quickly football can change and how results can come and go very quickly, even in the dying embers of a game. We've done that ourselves, of course, many times when we've pulled out a result, you know, in the last kick of the game. So I've always thought, well, it's not over till it's over. So you can get as excited as you want, but it means nothing until that final whistle goes. So it's just a simple, logical way of looking at what I do. And it keeps me focused as well, because you can get so high with the adrenaline rush of being successful in them moments of scoring a goal or the team scores a goal. You might forget that just 30 seconds earlier you were going to roast them for being rubbish. So, it can soon swerve your opinion. So you've got to be a bit careful with that.
Yeah, and on behalf of Sharon's daughter Millie, who's 13, Ben Mee is her favourite. Why did you make Ben the skipper when Tom moved on?
I think Ben, he's a calm character. He's a different kind of skipper. He does it by the respect that people have of him, including myself and the staff, but also the players. He knows the club inside out. He's got a nice calmness to him. He's very professional in his manner. He's considered in his manner and his words. And I think he just stands for what's right about, Burnley Football Club. And I think he encapsulates, as Tom did, by the way, as Jason Shackle did before. You know, I've had some good captains, I feel, and people have stood in as well. You know, there's been people who have stood in for games and a few games at a time. But no, I just thought Ben. The other thing, the underlying thing about captain inside is consistency. He's a consistent performer. You know, and that comes with all the things I mentioned. But usually the overlying thing is a consistent performer who's going to be out there in your team a lot over a season, providing they're fit, of course.
Talking of touchline things, George Martin, OBE, asks, development in football these days, Gaffer, is a lot of managers and yourself and Ian Werner amongst you sort of feel you have to talk behind your hands. Is that because everything's top secret, or is it because eyes just watch everything now and it's the sort of world we live in?
Yeah, it's kind of, it's not because it's top secret. It's just that you learn very quickly that people will lift words that you say. Someone lifted one this season, as you know, when I was actually having a bit of fun with the referee, and they put it that I was shouting at Chris Wood, which is factually incorrect, just to clear that up. Then that starts the wheels turning. Then I have to speak to Chris Wood and say, by the way, it's a nonsense story. It wasn't aimed at you. It was actually a flippant kind of funny moment, trying to be funny anyway with the referee. I try and use a bit of wit and a bit of banter now and again. In the job that I do, it's not easy. Try and have that little bit with the media as well, as you know. And that is the reason why we cover our faces, because people pick up on every single word, and then it makes a big story out of nothing, often out of nothing.
The media scrutiny is massive, and I know you talked about this a few times, and it's a little bit of history, not our club directly, but Matt Rawlinson asks, what was the most important thing you learned from Brian Clough? He would have found a lot of modern things very interesting, but a big character in your early career is the one sort of thing that stuck with you most?
I think I didn't know at the time. Well, I did know it, but I didn't know why it was so important. Obviously, over the years, I've learned more about myself, the game, and what it offers. And I think there was a simple alignment through the club where you learned it very quickly at Forest without the staff almost telling you. There was just a way that everyone worked there. There was a way that they conducted themselves, the players, I mean. There was a way that the training was expected to be delivered. There was a way that the team played that was expected to be delivered. And I think there was like a simple line of, like basic requirements and also key core values that ran through the team. And I thought, as I said, when I reflected on that in later life, I thought, yeah, actually, he had it right. He had and the other ones, a lot of the big managers have it quite obviously, but Sir Alex obviously had it at Manchester United, and I think the best managers who build things over time, as Brian Clough did, there's an alignment through the club that people almost know, as instinctively they know, or they pick up very quickly from all around. And I think we've tried to build a version of that at Burnley where people would expect a certain kind of conduct from our players, they'd expect a certain feel if they meet them, they'd expect a certain level of deliveries for the badge and for what Burnley offers. And I think we've got to a point, and we continue to work on that, where everyone's aligned in the right direction, everyone's looking in the right direction. I think that's probably it's detailed in a way, but it's in a simple form. There's a lot of detail within it, but Brian Clough had this way of simplifying what the club stood for and what the team stood for and what the team should be delivered. And I think we've tried to work on that kind of framework.
One of the managers, Jordan Rushworth, asks, did you always feel Joey Barton and Michael Duff would progress into management? And obviously they're both doing very well at the moment. Of the current squad, do you see anybody of a similar ilk that might follow that path?
Yeah, I think Joey's probably misrepresented a little bit sometimes, and don't get me wrong, some brought on by himself, which he knows, but I think he's a bright fella. I think he thinks a lot more than people think. He's very knowledgeable about players and the insight he wants to give. It was bursting out of him, really. He's not shy on a word or two, so he'll give you his opinion, that's for sure, which I had no problem with. But no, I thought that he'd have a go on it. He's still learning, and he's very open with that, as I am as well. He's become very humble with the learning side of things, and I still speak to him now and again and catch up with him. And I ask him ideas, not just he asks me them. I think I'm open-minded. It's irrelevant of where people are working. I'm always intrigued and interested in what they offer. Duffo's a different character, but very experienced. Come up, has had to work very hard through his career to get to where he got to. And yet again, he's got a different kind of personality to Joey, but still very demanding of himself, demanding of what his team should be and how it should look and how it should work. Got some real good experience with us at Burnley with the under-23s, and I left him alone. I said, that's your team, that's for you to learn about and learn about yourself as well. And now he's taken that into the league, and they're both doing very well. And I'm pleased that they're sort of using some of the stuff that they learned with us, and they're adding their own feel to it. And that's what management is offered about, using the knowledge you've gained, but then adding your own way of working to make them things happen and to make it work. But no, pleased for both of them. And many more, coaches or players, have played with us who are in coaching. And, I bumped into
them on doing badges. I know there's one at the minute doing the badges, aren't there? It might be hard to pick out, go and do it, but...
So to finish the question, I think management's changing all the time. I think when I was playing, there was kind of certain players you'd play with, usually obviously older ones when I was younger, but you'd look at them and think you're like a stereotypical, how I imagine a manager to be type. I think management's changing. If you look across the way management is now, there's all kinds of different characters. You have quiet managers, you have loud managers, you have aggressive managers, you have weak managers, but they're all finding a way, or the ones that do find a way, of using their skills to operate and to make sure a group works. So I think it's probably changing. I think so. Therefore, in our group, I think there's a number of players who possibly could go into the coaching and management side. But the first thing that people sometimes forget is you've got to want to do it. Not every footballer wants to do it. I know I've played with players who went, no, not for me, and they've never gone into it. Equally, you get that twist and turn of saying they don't want to do it, and then they do later on in life, as they get more experience. So I think it's first things first. You've got to want to do it, because it is hard work. It is considerably harder work, time-wise, particularly, than being a player. When you're a player, you have your own stresses and strains, and it is a stressful job. But you work in 3, 4 on a long day, 5 hours a day, and then you go home and you don't have time. When you're a manager, trust me, that time doesn't come easy, that's for sure. So that's a big shocker when you go over from a player, to a coach or a manager.